Hello, welcome to Coffee with Artists, sponsored by Art Alive. I'm your host, Samuel King Davis, and in this video series, we're going to interview artists from around the world, international artists, on what their secrets are to be successful and to thrive in the field of arts. So let's do it. Today I want to introduce you to Craig Downs. He's one of my favorite artists. He's from my hometown, St. Louis. This guy is great. He's got a very iconic style. It's totally recognizable as his work. He's got a mural project that he's working on in the town that he's staying in Mexico. And he invites the farmers, he invites children, entrepreneurs, business people to come down and paint murals together. This guy is really great. He's got a very great mind for social art and for breaking down social barriers. What I think art should really be about. I think it should be inclusive and accessible to everyone. So without further ado, let's talk to Craig. So we're here with Craig Downs, artist born in St. Louis, yeah?
Born in St. Louis.
And now living in San Francisco, or what's the name of it?
San Pancho, Mexico.
So we're going to talk to Craig about what his experience is as a professional artist and what it takes to stay in for the long haul. So maybe you could tell the audience a little bit about yourself and about your work and just who you are and what your vibe is.
Sure. My name's Craig Downs. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri originally. Living like you had said, in San Pancho, Nayarit, Mexico, which is San Francisco, Nayarit, Mexico. I've been down here for about 2.5 years now, and we have a gallery down here. My partner and I, Candace, have a gallery down here called La Casita Mágica, where we showcase my paintings along with 6-7 other artists from around the area here in Mexico, which is a joy. And coming to Mexico I came here 2.5 years ago to put a book out on the influences, the influence that Mexico would have on my art. Mm-hmm. And what I found was I was already painting in that kind of a style and that kind of the colors were real close, and I don't know where that came from, but yeah, That's where I'm at today. I'm helping run the gallery and painting a lot every day and doing very well.
So, what exactly are you going on? You have the wall project, yeah?
Yes, we have Candace and I put together I do these paint by numbers. Where I'll take a building or a wall and do the paint by number outline, and then we have a website called Wall Together now, which is for communities and corporations for team building, and we plan on doing that around the nation this summer, going wherever it takes us, actually. I just finished a mural for Jill St. Croix, who is the co-founder of Circus Olay. He lives here in San Pancho. And I just started yesterday another mural for him. People love paint by numbers. And, and it doesn't matter what we found. We did one, when I first got down here, we did the soccer building here in Mexico, and for Mexican people, it's like God, Mom, and soccer. That's the three things. So, but it was amazing because we had everything from 3-year-old children to Mexican farmers that were 80 years old to people from British Columbia and all over the world. We had over 150, 200 people show up that day for the community paint by number. It was awesome.
Yeah, that sounds great. Well, one thing that I studied when I was in college was community aesthetics, and that's, I think, one reason that I feel so connected to your work, because it's accessible to all people. It's focused around community and accessibility, and it brings people together and it breaks down barriers. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about your style, because the style has a simple look about it, but it's also very iconic. And I mean, there's no one else's work that I know that looks quite like yours. So maybe you could talk a little bit about how you came to that, and also about that sense of community within your work.
Well, thank you so much for noticing that. I've been working really hard at that for uh, 30 years. I wanted to create a style that I could call my own, and it took many thrown away canvases and practicing and all that. But I've maintained and continued the same style once I found the style that I'm comfortable in and with that suits me, and I work on that. And these days I'm kind of bringing some of the old things that I tried with the new things and putting them together. The my my subject matters vary from all sorts of different things. Religious, even though I'm not very religious, I love religious art, and just landscapes and dot dot dot. And people do tend to take them as childlike or simple, but there's and thank you once again for noticing. There's more to it. Each painting, I like to tell a story, whether, and sometimes it's like a stop frame where something has happened right before or something's going to happen right after, and you can feel that. Yeah, and if you really take some time with any paintings, not just mine, a simple glance, you can. If you just glance at a painting and walk on by, you're probably missing a lot, whether it be my work or a lot of other artists.
I was looking at some of your work right before our interview today, and I did notice that. I noticed that there was some kind of tension there. There was, I like the lovers, the two skeletons. It's at first when you look at it, it's easy to look at, and the colors are nice, and the thick lines are really nice. But then when you look at it a bit longer, there's some tension there. There's like, maybe, like you said, maybe something is about to happen, or there's some kind of story there. In most of your work, I find that.
That's because with my life as well as many others, there's some kind of story there. I was at the gallery the other day, and a lady was in front of me and in front of my art with me, looking at it. And she said, "Your paintings are so happy and bright and colorful." And my reply was that there's a lot of darkness in there, and of course maybe she didn't see it, but there is. Life is great and beautiful, but it can also have storms, and I can relate to those storms a lot.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that maybe the word here is authentic. The work is, at first it has this approach which sort of pulls you in. It's nice, and there's simple colors and lines, but then when you look at it after a while, you see that there's a human story in it. So yeah, I really appreciate your work for that. So let's move to the next question, which is the three things that you could point to that's kept you going as an artist, that's keeping your creative process going, and that keeps you successful. Maybe that's not the right word. Maybe it just keeps you creating, but keeps you thriving as an artist. What are three things that you could maybe point to?
Well, the number one thing is that I can't help it. It's what I do. I do it I paint every morning. I get up around 4 in the morning and I paint and it's like clockwork. It's been like that for.
What time do you go to bed? You wake up at 4. What time do you go to bed?
I try to be in bed by 9:30.
Okay.
I go to bed kind of early, but it's become such a great habit and a great thing that I don't get up every morning and go, oh shit, I got to paint. You know, it's just part of what I do. I've been consistently painting like that for 10 years, and it's just become a part of my life. It's what I do, and that's the number one thing, and that's a great joy. I'm fortunate enough to be able to do that, and have people around me that get it and understand that. So it's important to me that I paint every day. If I don't, then I'm not quite right the rest of the day. And I don't remember the last time that I haven't painted a single day in a row. I don't remember that thing. But
Wow.
so that's number one.
How many hours a day would you say you paint? Do you do like a full 8-hour, 9-hour thing?
No, I would say usually if you put it all together, about 6 hours a day is what I paint, and I'll have five different canvases going at the same time, which is just how I do it. As my grandson would say, it's my thing.
Yeah.
It's what it's how I do it. The second thing you mentioned about the community and the people and that kind of a thing, and I'm a believer that everything you do comes back to you in some form anyway, and doing these paint by numbers and other things like that, face painting even. I go and do face painting and stuff at festivals. It keeps you in touch with the people and and the children, because my art, because of its simplicity and at first glance, really attracts children. And I've had children at the gallery bring their mom and pop in to look at my work and have sold pieces, but it was the child that brought them in there. And
wow, that's great. I've never heard that approach before.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting when the kid is standing in front of your painting and mom goes into the gallery and goes, come on, and he's like not wanting to leave. So it almost forces the mom to have to look at what he's looking at, which is a nice thing.
I just got this image of a small boy in a tux selling your work as a gallerist.
and why not? Come on, little Tommy, wherever you are, let's do it. That'd be nice. Yeah, that number one is really the main one, and that's I can't help it. And number two is the joy on people's face that get it, if they get it, and number three is I guess the like I said, the fortunate position that I'm in to continue to do what I do. It's very gratifying to be able to make a living or to exist doing my art. It's very gratifying. It hasn't always been that easy. It's easier today, but it's been a struggle, and I like to quote Joseph Campbell a lot when people ask me how I'm doing financially or successfully in the arts, and Joseph Campbell's wife was a dance teacher, and she would say, so you want to be a dancer? Well, be prepared to eat beans the rest of your life, and if you want to but I tell people that I feel like I'm eating beans still, but I'm doing it in a golden cup.
Hmm.
And and someday I might have a ham steak with that. I'm not real sure, but I also find that that the more you are concerned about selling, and for me, the more that I worry about selling, and the more that I put a price on, how do I price my work, and I like to keep my prices very reasonable so that everyone can enjoy my work and take a piece home.
And I'm glad you
But
said that because I was just going to ask you, that's another concern of artists, maybe a really specific question, but a lot of people they overprice it because they go walk into a gallery and they see prices super high and then they think about all the time they spend on it. I mean, do you work those factors into your price, like the time and the materials and the experience, or do you just price it so people can enjoy it?
it's an odd thing because uh, people, if I sit there and price it by the hour, a lot of times I find that pretty ridiculous because that would be depressing to me if I had to see exactly what I'm making by the hour for these
Uh-huh.
paintings. People talk about minimum wage. Well, give me a break. But and then other people look at the size. The more you spend, the bigger the painting should be. Where when I saw Starry Night, Vincent Van Gogh in Chicago one time, it was like this big.
Yeah, a lot of his paintings are really small,
Very small,
but they're awesome.
And the Mona Lisa is like 16 by 20. You know what I mean? So,
Uh-huh.
so I don't think you price them. You should price them by size, but I find myself doing that, and and also for me, and like I said, I keep my prices reasonable, and I don't show at a lot of galleries, even though we own one, because a lot of galleries take 50%, and then you have to, if you want to get $400 for it, you have to price it at $800, and that kind of chops off the people that would spend 400 on a painting, but not 800.
Yeah.
So I've shown all through my life, either put on my own shows with other artists, and or cafes and restaurants that won't take anything, but they enjoy your artwork on the wall. Mm-hmm.
That brings people into their cafe. It creates a beautiful space for the customers to be in, and then yeah, so it benefits both of you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was just thinking that about that about artists who don't go through galleries and then they bring their prices down by half. I don't know. I've gone both ways on that because it does drive the value down on in the market of paintings, but at the same time, a lot of those paintings aren't accessible to people anyway. So, I always enjoy seeing paintings in restaurants because I know that people or diners or whatever because I know that they seem like they could be hanging in your kitchen. They could be hanging in your and you can enjoy them. They seem more accessible that way.
Yeah, I agree, and I have shown at galleries, and have sold and been had a successful show at a gallery also. I just find that galleries, a lot of them you have to get an appointment to go into. You have to do all these things in order to see the paintings, and I'm getting closer to the point where somebody might want to make an appointment, but I part of the reason we opened the gallery down here in Mexico is to show my work in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but I've always been a believer of trying to help other artists get their start, or other artists that aren't being seen, because once again, I really do believe that if you help somebody else, the universe or whatever's going to help you out when needed. And the second that I let go of that worry about selling a painting, just let go of it, I start selling paintings. And I think that I
Hmm.
don't look for the payoff of helping others, but I see it when it happens, and it makes me feel good that it's a big circle and we help each other and la
Hmm.
la la. Yeah. And also too, Sam, is to be totally concerned and overwhelmed with your financial situation. I feel that if it really bothers you that much that Costco is hiring, or
Yeah.
I think that it could affect your artwork. Because if like I had talked to you earlier before about living in St. Louis, if I paint, I could go back home and paint St. Louis arches from now until the day I die, and I would sell St. Louis arches. If I
Hmm.
lived in New York, I could paint the Statue of Liberty, and I'm sure that I would sell one a week. Um, but that would be for financial gain only, I believe. So I don't really want to concentrate for me so much on finances. Everyone has to live. Everyone has to make money, but it's not my main. I don't wake up in the morning and go, "Oh, I have to paint that picture of Lady Guadalupe because I know they sell down here in Mexico, or that sugar skull because I know they're popular." If I do paint a sugar skull or Lady Guadalupe, it's because I want to, not because I think it's going to sell.
Hmm.
And like I said, the for me, art to be an artist is wasn't really a choice. I don't know. I had lots of opportunities to do other things. It's just was a passion, and it has become my life. It's not a. I didn't wake up one day and go, "Oh, I think I'll be an artist." It's just happened, and
How did you know that? I mean, I know for me, I can point to a particular experience where that I have even today. When I finish a drawing, or I get close to finishing it, and then I finish that drawing, there's sort of a fulfillment. It's almost like I've eaten a hot meal. Like I feel fulfilled with that. And then when I show someone and someone enjoys it, I can see that beauty enhances their life and they enjoy looking at the painting. That's even like more of a fulfillment. So when did you know that, or what kind of experience do you have that made it without a doubt that you were an artist?
well, I don't know when that particular moment happened, but I do know that for me, it's a very selfish thing. I don't really paint so Sam will like my work. You know what I mean? I don't. That's not wasn't ever the. Now I played. I got in a band when I was young, so I could get girls. Now that was for real. I knew why I got that bass guitar. But but the painting, what it never was like that. The painting, I get such self satisfaction from painting itself. The finishing the product is or the painting is something I struggle with because I never know when I'm done, and sometimes I need my partner to tell me I think it's done because and there's been times where I've done a show and on the opening night I'll be talking with somebody and look at a painting on the wall and see that the red shoes should actually have been blue, and that comes to my head, and all I can think about is changing the blue shoes. But it's always been a I don't want to say therapy, but it's definitely a escape to a different a better softer land or attitude or whatever for me. And that's why I can't help but have some of my people and landscapes and everything look stormy, because that's a part of my working out my own frustrations or fears or happy, or all that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But initially, I really do believe it should, and for me, it should and has to be a selfish thing.
So, the last question, what is your message to the person who knows that they want to be an artist or is already an artist? This could be a message to address people getting ready to get into art school or just leaving art school, or it could even be to someone in their older years that have always known that they are an artist, but they just never pursued it and they're ready to make that step. So what would your message be to the aspiring artist or the young artist?
Well, number one, I'm not schooled, and that was that's always been hindering and keeping me back, because a lot of the galleries, that's the first thing they'll ask is, where did you go to school? And so when they find out that you don't have a degree in art, it's a turnoff for them, apparently. And I truly believe that it's not the quality of your work, and it's really sad. It's not the quality of the work. It's not what you know. It's what you did. And where you went to school, and oh, you went there. Oh, and then all of a sudden you're something because you have a degree from a certain university. So I'm self-taught and created my style through that, and in a way I'm glad, because I didn't have to undo things that I was taught by a frustrated artist, which I find art. The saying that if you're not going to be an artist, you become an art teacher, or something like that. And I don't think it's for everyone. I think that going to universities and studying under mentors, I think studying under mentors would be, for me, the choice that I would make. And I didn't study under live mentors, but I've read up on my favorites and studied them and their technique and how they moved and how they kept things on the canvas and how they kept the viewer on the canvas and things like that. And just years of doing it, you learn. Mm-hmm. And it might not have been the quickest way for me, but it worked, I feel, for me. And so the number one thing that I would, if I had to, if somebody was sincere asking me, about having a life, a career as an artist, I would try to explain to him how important it is that really becomes your art is your love, it's your child, it's everything, and for me that's what it's been throughout the years. I've lost children over my art. I've lost relationships over my art, and although it's sad and created a sadder tone in the paintings have been consistent, and they're always there, and they're always a part of it. So I think you really have to have the passion and know that it will be a struggle, and you need others in your life to support and help you and believe in you to continue the process. Otherwise, it can be a very lonely, dark place to be. So, I've had this talented woman. That when I was younger, I was amazed at her artwork, just totally amazed at her artwork. And she didn't take that route. She went a different route, and just now her life fell apart in whole new ways, and she decided to pick up the brush again. And she called me and asked me kind of like what you're asking, Craig, I'm going to do this and what. And I explained to her too the simple fact that you have to have it. You can't. It's like working out. You can't wake up in the morning and say, I don't think, I'm too tired. I'm not going to paint today. It has to get to a point where you're painting all the time, and when you're not painting, you're thinking about painting, and then that's where it goes. And then her main concern was, of course, finance. She's in her later part of her life, and she can't not make money doing it. But she's good enough that she could, because she can, if she wanted, she could paint the arch, and she could paint Aunt Betty's children, and do that kind of thing if she wants. But for me, it's always finances and money was not on the top of the list, and it never was. And because of that, and perseverance through that, it's paid off. And when I don't, like I said before, when I don't worry about when the next painting's going to sell, the phone rings and it sells, and I'm doing okay. This is really nice. That's our town right there, and you can hear the birds and the.
You were talking a little bit about you persevering through this hard time, and then now it's come around to where you're actually able to make a living from it. But do you think that is because of the work that you're doing with the gallery, and the work that you're doing with community, and the work that you're doing helping other people? Have you seen an increase in your sales when you focus on that?
I do, and that's another thing that goes back to the getting out there. If you make yourself accessible and try not to be an arrogant asshole about who you are, what you do, people are more apt. For me, they're more apt to get closer and look at and find out what I do and become more. I become more accessible and that kind of thing, and doing a lot of fairs, and which I don't care to do anymore. They're hard work, but if you're starting out, that's a great way to do it too. If you do art festivals and all that, it puts you out there so people can see. It's really all about selling yourself, and it's a hustle, and that can be annoying and somewhat irritating at times too. But it goes back to how bad do you have to make the money to do that? But also for me, and I know I'm going all over the board, but I enjoy my work, and it makes it easier to do those kind of things because you enjoy what you're doing, and you don't have to be an artist to do that. If you enjoy your work, you enjoy your work. Mm-hmm. You get up in the morning and you go to work because you enjoy your work, and that's what I do. But the working with the community and helping, give back and all that kind of stuff. It definitely makes people see that, I believe, and they're more apt. It's not like you're getting them to like your paintings because you're such a nice guy or whatever, but you're allowing them an opportunity to stop and decide if they're gonna like your paintings or not. Mm-hmm. And I find that's so important. To me, is when people stop and look at them, instead of just kind of, and that's my hope with my artwork is people will take a minute with it, And then that's again is a good reason for me to show at restaurants and cafes and coffee houses is because they're going to be there eating or drinking their coffee or whatever, and doing their computer, but they'll hopefully stop and look up and soak in. And if they visit that coffee house or cafe more than once a week, they're getting it in small pieces. Yeah.
Well, a quick message to people watching this interview. If you like the interview, make sure you subscribe below. We'll have more interviews with artists from around the world. And thank you so much, Craig. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and it's nice to get some wisdom and some insight from someone who's been there.
Thank you, Sam. CraigDowns.com, CraigDowns.com, and then walltogethernow.com is the other one. Thank you. It's right down there.
Okay.
All right, Sam. Well, thank you very much. I hope I did well. I hope this was okay.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Good.